Zuhdi Jasser. He's the founder of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy and a former U.S. Navy lieutenant commander. Also, Eric Metaxas, host of the Eric Metaxas Show, one of our favorites here at Newsmax, and the prolific author. Eric, first to you. Do you see last night's developments in religious terms?
In religious terms, yes and no. Yes and no. I think this is part of the challenge, Greg, and I think Americans need to kind of get caught up on this stuff because we've kind of let stuff slide. We've been, we've had a great country, everything's great. Well, suddenly we have to confront some founding principles. For example, what is religious liberty? Religious liberty says that a fundamentally Christian nation welcomes people who are not Christians. That's religious liberty. But religious liberty is a Christian value. Religious liberty is not a Muslim value. So when you're dealing with radical Muslims, which we have had coming into our country like crazy, and which Mamdani basically got to vote for him, that's why he is going to be mayor, they do not have that value. So their values are fundamentally antithetical to the American experiment. So we have a problem. We have a huge problem. It's one thing, I mean, I meet cab drivers, you probably do too, in New York City, and you can tell that they're really Americans. I mean, they identify as Muslims, but culturally, they're Americans. They love America. They're making money, whatever. They're not trying to crush America. But there are many radical Muslims who hate America, and they are here to cause trouble. They're in London. They're in Paris. They want to destroy the West. This is a reality. We have to wake up to it. We have to do something about it. And the number one thing we need to do, is understand what is religious liberty? What does it mean to be a Christian? We've got to stop pretending everything is okay, because suddenly it's not.
Thank you. Zuhdi Jasser, do you agree with that? And please, your thoughts overall.
I agree with the fact that what Eric's talking about is Islamists and the political movement globally. And as you very well quoted my good friend, the late Charlie Kirk, he had just returned from Europe in the spring. I was there last year in October 24, debating in Oxford, saying as a devout Muslim that Islam is not compatible with democracy in its form today. It still is based in a theocratic movement. It still is anti-Western. And this red-green axis, which is about the Russia, China's, Venezuela's of the world working with the Irans, Qatar, and Turkeys of the world, just like AOC works with Ilhan Omar, they are folks that hate the West, hate freedom and liberty, and Islamism is about theocracy. So I've testified to Congress. Peter King was a good friend, had me testify in 2011. We protested the Ground Zero Mosque and said they might have a right to do, but it's the wrong thing to do. And we've testified saying, you know what, it's not just about Muslim radicalization. The Democratic Party is going to be radicalized, and this is what we've seen with Obama 1.0, 2.0, and now 3.0 with Mamdani. The call from Obama to Mamdani highlights this red-green axis. Islam has not had an American revolution against theocracy. That's what has to happen. Our allies, our Muslim reform movement was with the folks that are pro-American. We would die for this country, but we have to be able to delineate the fact that it's not just physical borders we need, but borders in our consciousness to defend America against Islamic states like Turkey, Qatar, Pakistan, Iran, etc., that have not reformed.
So, based on what we know in the speech last night and what I know about the oath to protect America, he ostensibly took that oath. You know, you swear to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. You actually promise to take up arms if so ordered. The rhetoric last night didn't seem to indicate to me that he would. And one other thing, I'm sorry, Eric, he talks a lot about being Muslim. He talks 10 times more about being Muslim than candidates talk about, let's say Judeo-Christian candidates would talk about their religion. That almost seems to be a trap.
Well, look, we haven't talked about this much in the media. His mother, as far as I know, is a raging anti-Semite. Let's start there, okay? My suspicion is that he is an anti-Semite. And when we talk about Muslims, that's the whole issue, is what kind of Muslim? It's like when you're talking, in 1960, there were a lot of Protestants who were worried about JFK getting elected. Oh, because he's Catholic, we've never had a Catholic president, his fidelity will be to the Pope. We now know, that JFK was not that kind of a Catholic. What kind of a Catholic was he? He was the kind of Catholic who brought prostitutes into the White House on a weekly basis. No kidding. So he was not exactly a devout Catholic. But the point is, people were asking a serious question. Is his fidelity going to be to the Vatican or to the Constitution? That was not an issue, and that has not been an issue with Catholics in America. Of course, there's a tiny minority of crazy Catholics who would want a kind of a Catholic theocracy. But that problem is alive and well in the Islamist community, among the radical Muslims. It is an issue for us today. It's an issue for every city in the West, and now for New York City as well.
Do me a favor, stand by for this gentleman, Zoran Mamdani on Islam. Well, take a look at this from last night.
No more will New York be a city where you can traffic in Islamophobia and win an election.
So that the threat of being accused of Islamophobia is a very effective weapon, and I think it's being employed. Those were legitimate questions they asked about John F. Kennedy. Legitimate questions cannot be asked of a Muslim candidate in America today. I believe culturally, Zuhdi Jasser. I think that needs to go away, that kind of inhibition. Check me on that if you don't mind.
100%. I could not agree more, because if you talk to Muslims in Egypt and Syria and elsewhere, in Iran, they reject Islamists. They are Islamist phobic by nature because they want liberty, they want freedom. So I, as American, joined the U.S. Navy because I would only die for the U.S. I would not want to die for my faith. You know, to me, America is under God, and this is the country I want to defend. And ultimately, the Islamists use the DEI narrative. They use identity politics to create blasphemy laws and prevent anti-blasphemy, because they want to behave just like Saudi Arabia and Iran, where dissidents get put into prison if they question the Islamic theocrats. And see who Zohran Mamdani shared the podiums with. He was with Siraj Wahhaj, radical imams across New York City, which he didn't criticize. He's never said anything against ISIS, Hamas, or others. Why? Because he hates the West, and he would get closer to the radical Islamist groups, which he will do.
I think these issues have to be pursued. I want to know. Zuhdi Jasser, thank you very, very much. Our media certainly didn't pursue these questions. And Eric Metaxas, thank you. Please go to ericmetaxas.com, METAXAS, just in case. Thank you, gentlemen, very much, and we'll be right back.